Okay, the following is a video on 11.3 notes. This is an interesting one. This is the areas of circles and sectors. I don't really like the name sector. Kind of sounds a little weird. I like to call this pizza slices. Okay, Lord knows that I like my pizza. Okay, especially frozen pizza. All right, so if I wanted to find the area of a circle, we all kind of know that. Given the radius of a circle, I know that area is equal to pi r squared. Okay, now one way you can kind of remember this, you can remember the circumference formula is cherry pies are delicious. C is equal to pi times diameter, and you can say that apple pies are too. Okay, so this is pretty standard. We all kind of know that. But the area of a sector or the area of a pizza slice is a little bit different. Okay, now I'm going to call this radius r, and I'm going to call this angle x degrees. Okay, now what I know is I can find the entire area of a circle using pi times the radius squared, okay? Now, what I can now do is I could then multiply this by this angle measure, which is x degrees, and divide that by the entire degrees of a circle, which is 360. So you're just basically finding a fraction of a circle here using the pizza slice. All right. So if I did this, if I wrote area is equal to pi times my radius squared times x degrees, I could divide that entire thing by 360 degrees. Okay. And that's my formula for the area of a sector or the area of a pizza slice. All right. So let's do a couple of examples, a couple quick ones. With number one, find the area of the circle. And we'll do an exact and we'll do an approximate too. So I know that my radius here is equal to 7 meters. So my area is equal to pi times my radius squared. So I'm going to plug in 7 for my radius. I get area is equal to pi times the quantity 7 squared. Now 7 squared is 49, so I'm going to write it like this, that my area is 49 times pi. Now this is exact, okay, and this is in meters squared. All right, but if I wanted to evaluate this and get an actual number, I would take 49, multiply it by pi, and if you do that, you get approximately, get the approximation symbol in there, 153.9 meters squared. Okay, and that's my area of this circle. Okay, we've been doing this. All right, let's move on to the next one. Now, this next one, they give me the diameter. Okay, so my diameter is equal to 18 inches. So then my radius would be what? My radius is going to be 9 inches. It's half of my diameter. Okay, so if I wanted to find the area of this, I would take pi times my radius squared. So I would take area is equal to pi times the quantity 9 squared. 9 is my radius. And 9 squared is 81. So I'm going to take 81, I'm going to multiply that by pi. Okay, and this is in inches squared. If I wanted to get an approximation, I'd plug it in the calculator and I would get 254, but not 245, 254.5 inches squared. Okay, so things we've been doing for a while, you guys know how to do this. Okay, now on this one, it kind of gives me a different thing here. Now it says the area of a circle is 132.7. So let me draw on a radius here. It says find the diameter. Okay, now I know that my diameter is equal to 2 times my radius. So I need to solve for my radius. I need to find what this is. So I know that my area is equal to pi times my radius squared. Now it gives me the radius of 132.7, and I'm going to set that equal to pi times my radius squared. Now I need to solve for r here, okay? Same as we were solving for x or any other variable, I need to move all the numbers to the other side. So I'm going to move over pi. Now I'm multiplying by pi, so I'm going to divide by pi. Okay, and I'm just going to leave it like this. I'm going to say that 132.7 divided by pi is equal to r squared. Okay, I'm going to leave it like this. If I'm going to solve for r, I'm going to take the square root of both sides to just get 1r instead of r squared. So I get that r is equal to the square root of this whole thing, 132.7 divided by pi. Now my diameter is 2 times my radius. So if I wanted to calculate my diameter, I would just take 2 times the square root of 132.7 and divide that by pi. Okay, and this is what you'd want to plug into your calculator. If I plug that in, I end up getting, what is that, 13 point, if we round an approximate value of 13.2 centimeters, and that's my diameter. Okay, so we want to use this equation, solve for r. Now, everything I'm doing is just algebra. Okay, so this isn't much geometry here, so this is, pretty heavy on the algebra. All right, now let's take a look at number 4. Okay, it wants us to find the diameter of a circle whose area is 1,134.1 square millimeters. All right, so let's draw a circle. I know that this is my center and that this length here is my radius. So I get that my area is equal to pi times my radius squared. I also know that my diameter is equal to 2 times my radius. So my area is 1,134.1, and I'm going to set that equal to pi times my radius squared. So same way we just did the other one. I'm going to divide this by pi, okay? And I don't want to find a decimal for this yet. The pi's divide out. So I get that 1,134.1 divided by pi is equal to r squared. Now I can take the square root of both sides, and I end up getting that r is equal to the square root of 1,134.1 divided by pi. Now, if I'm trying to find my diameter, I'm just going to take my radius and multiply it by 2. So I get that my diameter is 2 times the square root of 1,134.1 divided by pi. And if I put that into my calculator, I get a value, and this, you get like 37.999, and this is millimeters. We can just round that up. If we round it to the nearest tenth, that would just give us 38 millimeters. Okay. So again, this is just an algebra problem. All right, now let's take a look at 5 and 6, and this is the sector area. Now let's write our formula down. Okay, area is equal to the equation of my circle, so pi r squared, times x degrees divided by 360. Okay, so my area, okay, my radius is 2, and x is equal to 51 degrees. Okay, so let's plug that in. I get pi times 2 squared times 51, and I'm going to divide that by 360. Okay, and you can just plug this into your calculator. All right, and if you just plug that in, you should get a value of approximately, because we round to the nearest tenth, so that's 1 decimal place, approximately 1.8 meters squared, and that's the area of this. So that area is equal to 1.8 meters squared. All right, so that's the area of the pizza slice. Okay, let's take a look at number 6. All right, so now again we're going to use the formula. Area equals pi times radius squared times x degrees divided by 360. Okay, so I know that my radius is equal to 12.5, and I know that my angle measure, and it's a big angle, it's longer than 180 degrees, is 243 degrees. So if I plug that into my formula, I get pi times the quantity 12.5 squared times x. Well, x is 243 degrees, and then I'm going to divide that by 360. Okay, and if I plug that into my calculator, I end up getting an approximate value, sorry, I keep doing that, 331.3 meters squared. Okay, so, if you're having trouble getting this number, kind of play around with this. Really what you need to make sure you have here, guys, is when you put this in the calculator, you need to make sure that you have parentheses around your numerator and your denominator. That's what's going to help you get these values. So make sure you do that. All right. Hope you enjoyed this. Now you can impress your friends at lunch when you have pizza by finding the area of of the pizza slice. So make sure next time you have pizza at lunch, you bring a protractor and a ruler. Okay. Enjoy.